If you come at the king, you best not miss.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this contest, and
acknowledge us.
Hey guys, it's the Red Carpet Ring here. We'll talk about WWE NXT. We had tag team title on the line. Lash legend Jakara Jackson faced Alba, Fyre, and Isla. You guys get the likes as we come into the ring. We're going to talk about NXT. We're going to talk about the review of the show. And of course, we're going to talk about what went right and what went wrong with NXT. That we got the bonus round here. Who will be Oba Femi's new challengers? And this is regarding Oba Femi becoming the brand new NXT champion. Who will be his next challenger for the championship? So you guys get the likes as we come in. We're going to talk about this one. Definitely going to talk about this one. So let's get into it. For first, let's get into the match card, shall we? Let's look over that real quick. So let's look over that real quick and let's see what was advertised as follows. All right, we got here on the match card, we had Oba Femi, NXT champion, to address his title win. Giulia addressed her title win as well. Roxanne Perez speaks. Shotzi versus Stephanie Vaquer, #1 contendership, North American Championship, the women's tag team title match, OTM versus Axiom, and Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend versus Unholy Union, Alba, Fyre, and Isla. And with that being said, let's get into the beginning of the show. Let's talk about that. All right, now let's see the beginning here. Let's see what happened in the beginning here of this show here. Now what we have here is we see here. All right, we had Oba Femi. He opened up talking about his title win. He was happy about winning the NXT championship. Now, while he was in his promo, he was giving Trick Williams, the previous champion, his props. Talking about how great of a champion he was. And then Oba Femi, they was cheering for him and everything. The crowd was definitely happy that he won the title, But next thing we know, he mocked Eddie Thorpe as well. Next thing we know, Tony D'Angelo, the North American champion, he rolled up on him. So when he came up, Tony D'Angelo, he talked about how he congratulated Oba Femi on his win, but reminded him he holds a win over him. Now, the championship he holds, he won Oba Femi by winning that title. And before that get any further, we saw Ridge Holland, who attacked, which Oba Femi did refer to. Oba Femi said, "I wouldn't worry about that if I was you. You got to worry about that stand that attacked you last time he saw him," which was, we know, Ridge Holland. And Ridge Holland did come out. He started fighting with Tony D'Angelo. Oba Femi was also attacked, and this was by Eddie Thorpe. And Eddie Thorpe had hit on his left strap, and he kept attacking him. So more likely, we're going to get a strap match between Eddie Thorpe and Oba Femi in their future. That's what they're running with. That's what they're going to do. So we're going to get that at some point. And more likely, also, that we also will get Tony D'Angelo, his new challenger for the North American Championship, will be no other than Ridge Holland, who recently just was in the NXT title picture challenging Trick Williams before Trick lost the belt to Oba Femi. But that was okay segment to start off the show. With that being said, let's go off to the next part of the show. First match of the night was Shotzi versus Stephanie Vaquer. This was for the number one contendership of the Women's NXT North American Championship. Whoever wins get to face Fallon Henley for the title. So we got that. These women were going at it. This was a solid match. Very solid match. Shotzi had a good Hurricanrana. Stephanie had a good being tentacle. But she had some good wrestling skill in this match. These two work well together. I thought it wouldn't be all that. But the turning point in the match is when Fatal Influence showed up, they try to cause trouble. As you see, Shotzi and Stephanie grab JC Jane. They got her. However, it was Fallon Henley who put the belt behind Stephanie Vaquer's back while she was at the ropes. And Shotzi got the roller win, and Shotzi won the match. And she's a brand new number one contender for the North American Championship. She will face Fallon Henley, I think next week or the week after. So that was the end of that one. So that was wild, though. That's how they went off with that. That was something else. But we don't see what happens next. That was definitely unexpected, you should say, or to say the least. But we did get a good first match of the night to kick off. Very good way to kick off the show. So with that being said, we're going to go on to the next match of the show and see what happens. Let's go on. We'll move on and see what else happened on NXT. Now, also, we did get next match will be Ethan Page versus Dante Chen. Now, they had a segment backstage. Dante Chen wasn't taking none of Ethan Page stuff. And Dante Chen told Ethan Page it's messed up how you took out both Javon Evans and now Cedric Alexander. And, Ethan Page, being the heel he is, you got a problem with it, do something about it. And Dante Chen should make the match official. Now, this pretty much was a squash, let's be honest. This was to set up Ethan Page as the character that he's really into now, that's on a whole nother level. Now, he got to the point where not only he took out Dante Chen, got him in the match, he took the steel steps, put his legs in between it, and squashed his leg. And, of course, he put the hurting on him. And then Javon Evans came out. First time we saw Javon Evans since he was attacked, face-to-face with Ethan. First time they faced each other face-to-face since the attack. We see him in vignettes and all that. And Javon was giving it to Ethan. Ethan got him in the mouth. That was it. This was really building up Ethan Page. I got to say, this was good. This was a good story here. Good story being told. Yeet. So this was good for Ethan Page. Continue to build on the character. Let's go on to the next match of the show of the night. Let's see what was the next move that they had. All right, the next one I will say too that they had as well. They definitely had another one. We had a tag team match, Metaphor versus Unholy Union. Now, we know here, whoever won this match between these two teams, they will go on to face for the Women's Tag Team Championships, head on by Naomi and Bianca. This was another good solid match. I like how these two teams went at it. I got to say, Jakara Jackson got much better in the ring. I could tell she's been at the Performance Center. I could tell her and Lash are getting better and better as a tag team. Very underrated. Jakara was not wrestling much at first when I saw NXT. She was more of a valet. Her and Jakara just being in backstage segments with Metaphor. But ever since Aura Mensa and was out, and of course Noam Dar been out, they really been pushing Metaphor, these two on their own. And I think those injuries of Noam Dar and Aura Mensa being out, it was a blessing in disguise for them. But I will say this match was also good because they have been really growing as a tag team, and they could hang with Unholy Union. Very good. And Lash Legend showed her most dominant power. And of course, on Holy Union, they show how great they are as well as a tag team. But it wasn't good enough. Jakara and Lash, they got that good tag team moves, and Lash got them. But it showed that at one point in the match, we thought Lash was taken by them, and it was 2-on-1. Jakara had the tag on Lash. Lash got in. They won the match, and they new number one contenders, and that will be Lash Legend Jakara Jackson of Metaphor. But this was a good match by these women. Very good match. I like where this is going. Very good direction. Let's move on to the next match of the show. All right, we got one-on-one. We got Kalani Jordan versus Cora Jade. We know these two have been having a rivalry. They had they've been attacking each other. Then, of course, Kalani Jordan and Cora Jade had a face-to-face backstage before this match. Now, this match here, it showed more of fire out of Kalani Jordan. And since we've seen how Kalani Jordan lately, it seems like Kalani's losing her focus. She got the more fire, but she doesn't focus on what's important, and it ended up may cost her a match. But the turning point was the ref. It was at some points in the match, Kalani kept attacking Cora in the corner, and almost got to the 5 count. That happened twice by the ref. Almost counted her out twice with the 5. But during that point in the corner, while the ref was trying to get Kalani off of Cora did the eye rake, old classic heel move on Kalani, and that allowed her to get the double underhook DDT for the win. And Cora Jade was your winner. So that was a good. About time Cora Jade won a match. Girl been losing since she came back. I'm glad she got a win. So congratulations to Cora Jade on that one. Very, very well good. But with that being said, let's get on to another part of the show. Wide opening. Let's get to another part of the show. Now we also had another tag team match. Now this is for the NXT tag team belts. This is Nathan Frazer Axiom versus OTM out the mud. This team never fails to disappoint me. They always have great performance. Now, I will say too, OTM, they held themselves down. They did the best they could too. I'm not taking nothing away from that team. They did what they could as well, but unfortunately, it just was not enough. There was points in the match we thought OTM had it. They had in the bag, but it was near falls, And since it was near falls, it seemed like, they almost had the match. But anytime we see Fraxium or Nathan Frazer and Axiom down, they keep getting back up. And they both had the men locked. They even had both men of OTM locked in submission at the same time. But OTM, they got that power. Price and Naima, they got it down. Then Naima suplex Frazier onto Axiom to break the hold. That was a good spot. We saw also the climbing of the ladder. Nathan Frazier had a mask on. He got to climb onto, I think that was Prince there, and that's still right there. That was good. But other than that, when Nathan put, I think Naima through the table, then also had a senton while Axiom hit Price, I think Lucian Price, with the finisher for the win. This was really a tag team of David versus Goliath, pretty much. And winner still champions, Axiom. But one of the best matches of the night. Very, very well. Very, very well. But other than that, though, that was good that these men was able to put on performance. Both teams, I might add, very good for both teams to do that. They definitely showcased their talent. And OTM, salute to them. Expect them to get the tag team belts at some point. I actually thought they was going to win, but they didn't. But it was good to see that they are being taken seriously as a tag team, and especially a tag team contender. And during the match, we did get a little visit from the current WWE tag team champs, DIY. DIY showed up. They rolled up on them. They was complimenting practice, saying they were the best tag teams. We want to come check them out. Could we get a future tag team match? Champions versus champions, or maybe after Fraxium and Fraxium lose the belts? We could see that in the future. We know DIY legendary NXT, but that was a very good match though by the man though. Well, let's go over a couple other things I want to mention as well. Besides DIY showing up, they wasn't the only people to appear on NXT. Now, during before this match, other match I mentioned, we saw this earlier. Not only they showed up to NXT during the Cora J. Kalani Jordan match, and I'm talking about this match right here, we did get appearance from Masha Slamovich, the current TNA Knockouts champion. And we know from past history with Jordan Grace that when a TNA Knockouts championship in NXT Arena, we know this will not be the last of them. So we got them too. And also another segment, Carmen Petrovic and Adonis. He gave her a rose, told her she's the one for him. You know the little cheat storyline they got going on. It's cool. It's a little cute storyline. And he said he was serious. He ain't playing games no more. That's the only girl he want. Carmen pulls him in, says about time, kissed him, and that was it. We'll see where that storyline goes too. But let's get to the main segment of the show. Now we got Roxanne Perez. Now she has a segment here. She talks about, of course, losing the title, saying that, NXT Women's Division was hers. She said she held on to the belt, if I'm not mistaken. I think she said she held the belt for I think it was 260 something days, I want to say. But she did hold on to the belt for a good minute since NXT Stand and Deliver last year. So, other than that, though, I think it was I'm trying to think how long it was. I want to say, off the top of my head, I want to say Roxanne held on to the belt. I want to say she offered a good 200. If I could think, it's around tip to my tongue. 276 days. I knew it was 260, 270. So 276 days. Said that the division won't be the same without her. Now she's no longer champion. What are they going to do? And she said, and she gave Giulia props too, similar to what Oba Femi gave Trick his props. She said that Giulia was the better woman. She won. And she said that's it for the women's division. There's nothing else you can do. And Wise McGuire said that while we was waiting, someone comes out. It's Bailey, her first appearance in NXT, and God knows how long. She came out, you know, but she showed up and she gave a little pep talk. And Roxanne got that legend killer. I insult legends and legendary wrestlers like she did CM Punk, like she did Natalia. She said, "You're about to give me some advice. I don't want to hear it." Just like CM Punk. And right, she said that she slaps Bailey, and Bailey attacks her back. And this is when the show cut off to that's when we saw the credits on the screen, and that let us know the show's gonna cut off. And it ended on that note. If you guys remember, that was the final segment of the show. So that was end of that. But other than that, that was end of NXT. With that being said, let's get to the review of the show. We got Oba Femi, champ, Roxanne, Giulia, two tag team matches. And we also had a number one contenders match. My review of the show, I get a 4 out of 5. It was a good, solid show. Very good, solid show. There was some things I didn't like. I'll get to that in a second. But other than that, though, pretty much solid show. And of course, you guys, you all could always want to chime in for what you think of the show or comment as well. So I'll just go to the community tab where I have it here. Let's see what people are saying in the community tab. We have 81% gave it an A, 12% gave it a B, 3% gave it a C, 5% D or F. So you guys let me know what you think of NXT for January 14th. So that was it for that show. With that being said, we're gonna move forward. All right, we're gonna get on to the what went wrong with NXT. What were the issues there we saw? What happened? Let's talk about it, right? All right, first thing I want to talk about. I don't like this. Eddie Thorpe still chasing NXT title. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, Eddie Thorpe. Eddie Thorpe, you lost the NXT championship. Just like Trick lost. Fair and square. I do not believe he should get another opportunity for this belt. He fought Trick while he was champion. I know it's a controversial finish, whatever. Then you had another opportunity in a triple threat match at NXT New Year Evil. You lost that too. Even though Oba Femi attacked you before the match, but you deserved that. You did attack Oba the week before. He's getting his lick back. Let's be honest. But now it seemed like he's going to be challenging Oba Femi for one with a championship in a strap match. I don't like this. I don't think he should get another opportunity. So that's all I gotta say about it.
What's gonna happen? No. Words? No. You just made the list.
I don't like this at all. Let's get to another part of what I didn't like about NXT. Now, you know, it's a great match. I still feel some type of way. Shotzi only won the match due to federal interference, because Stephanie would have beat her. I think Stephanie would have almost got her. You know, she was hanging with Stephanie, but I will say psychology-wise, the reason Fatal Influence attacked and costed Stephanie the match because Fallon Henley know that Stephanie Vaquer ain't no joke and she gonna give it that work. So she rather take the easier route as a champion and face Shotzi, who would not be as much of a challenge to her compared to Stephanie Vaquer, which means that this Shotzi did benefit and win the match, but she will lose against Fallon Henley. So that's so obvious, and I don't like that at all. Shouldn't be in the first place, but I get it. Got to give Fallon Henley challengers, but that's how I feel about
What's
it.
gonna happen? No. Words? No. You just made the list.
So that's another thing I saw on the list that I did not like, that I was not a fan of, you know, but like I said, they got to do what they got to do. That don't mean I got to like it. Another thing I had a problem with, no Giulia. She was advertised for the show. I didn't remember her cutting a promo. I don't remember her coming out to NXT, you know, and talking about how she was happy about being champion. I don't know if they ran out of airtime because, you know, CW's not like USA Network or Netflix where they give you extra time, a window. Once they cut 9 o'clock Central Standard Time or 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, that's it. But it's still false advertisement. She did not really talk on this title win. Then I don't remember seeing her. Maybe in a vignette or something, but she was not in the ring. No promo. And we know how I feel about that.
What's gonna happen? No. Words? No. You just made the list.
So yeah, I don't like that at all. So that wasn't good, but maybe we'll hear more from Julie next week. With that being said, let's move on to what went right with NXT. What went right with the show. There was some things that I did like that was going in the right direction. One thing I will say, I know I said this before, I will say it again. I have to say it again. Ethan Page is still rolling with the story. He's still doing his thing. Now, this man has taken out Javon Evans, had his mouth wide shut, had him bleeding, took out his boy Cedric Alexander, and now he's taking out Dante Chen. And then Javon came back to attack him, and he took him down again. Ethan Page, if this ain't a great character story built for him or what, I'm all for all ego, and I'm all on board for this character. And I can't wait to the next level where they take this man's whole story. I'm a fan of this. I'm definitely with this program.
Yeet.
So yeah, this was a good for Ethan Page. I definitely like this at all. I like all of this. All of this was very, very good. I can't wait to see what the next one's going to be, you know. So definitely a good part of that. Also, another part I liked as well. TNA Knockout Champion Masha Slamovich show up. This is good too because we're going to get a continuation of the TNA and NXT crossover of each superstars being on each other's program and even having the championships defended at another person's turf. So that lets me know she will be a future challenger for Giulia as NXT Women's Champion. just like Jordan Grace, who was TNA Knockouts champion at the time, challenged Roxanne Perez, the previous NXT Women's Champion at the time. But I'm all for this. And Masha, I've watched a couple of matches. I saw when she beat Jordan Grace at Bound for Glory for the TNA Knockouts. You guys remember I covered it here at the watch along. This is another thing. I like this. This is a good idea, and I like the partnership with TNA and NXT. So this is a good move by NXT.
Yeet.
So yeah, this is definitely a good one. Another thing I want to say that I liked about this episode of NXT, it's inevitable, and I just talked about it. I like the Roxanne and Bayley future match setup. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to have a series of matches, but expect Bayley come back to NXT, have a match against Roxanne, or with Roxanne soon going to the main roster, which is pretty much where she's going. She will have a match with Bayley at some given point. But wherever the turf is, whether it's NXT, Raw, SmackDown, these two will cross paths again. They'll have a one-off match, and I'm on board for that. So that's how I feel about it. Very good.
Yeet.
Yeah, so this was good of Roxanne and Bayley's interaction. This was very good. I like this a lot. So this is cool, and they definitely made some moves. With that being said, though, guys, we covered a lot. We covered in the WWE NXT Tag Team title on the line. Lash, Jakara faced Alba, Fyre, and Isla Dawn. We talked about what went wrong, what went right with the show. With that being said, we got to go over some current news. We'll go over that in a second. Now, some current news going on, and of course, we will get to the bonus round as well. We'll definitely do that. But what we're going to do is some current news been going on. I heard this is trending currently. I heard it was, so we're going to discuss it. We're going to see where it's going, but stuff I'm going to talk about, it may be kind of touchy for some people. I'm just now a disclaimer. I'm just reporting on the subject. Don't beat up the messenger. That's all I gotta say before we do get into this. So I don't want anybody coming at me. Don't come in my comments. Don't come in my community tab talking all sideways. Yeah, so I'm just I know it's a sensitive subject for people that who have their beliefs and feelings towards this topic. But we are going to talk about it, though. We still want to discuss it because it's current news. And this is definitely current news within the wrestling world. And it involves a current NXT star as well. So with that being said, let's talk about that. Now, I'm going to read it right now. All right. It says here, the U.S. House bill passed a bill to ban transgender athletes from competing in women's and girls sports at federally funded schools. Now, this was on, said spiritual word, this was on Instagram. So this was posted earlier. Now, it is a like on there, and it's liked by Jada Parker of WWE. Many of you don't know, maybe you do know, or for those who don't know, this is Jada Parker, one of the stars of NXT. She's known for a great in-ring skill, a nice body, I might add. Nice figure on her. But she had comments towards transgender ban in sports. When she did put a like on there, people online saw from her account. They did not like the fact she liked it. The people that are against the ban, and they had some things to say to Miss Parker. Let's see what else happened. Now, she has some things to say on X. One person said, wait, can you give us context on how you feel about the whole ban? She said, oh, I love to. Add that person's name. He wants to be messy, and that's fine, because ignorance is contagious. But what they not going to do is come at my name because my opinion doesn't align with theirs. They clearly don't know how to educate themselves on the real definition of being transphobic. So that's Jada Parker's comments. She agrees that when the House passed that bill to ban them, she's all for it, and people do not like that. So it was some quite comments I would say regarding this whole issue, and like I said, it's definitely starting to trend on social media about it. You may hear it later on at some point or more about it, but they saying that some people are really against what she's doing, and everyone's voice to their own opinion. She has her own opinion. If she's either for it or against it, that's not a problem. But I don't think she's transphobic. I think she just said that she agrees with it. All she did was put a like on there. That's all she did. I don't think she's trying to stir the pot or cause trouble. But it does says that NXT Jada Parker sparks debate on transgender athletes in sports. So like I said, this is trending online. Everyone is starting to talk about this, and it may be good. It may be some news tomorrow that's going to be online. So people are definitely discussing this whole matter. They definitely are. They're not being quiet on this. They're also voicing their opinion on this whole thing. But also too, just to let you guys know, it is trending on X right now. Let's see else what it said. This the whole thing regarding Jada Parker. It says NXT Jada Parker sparks debate. NXT wrestler Jada Parker has recently come under scrutiny after she liked the Instagram post advocating a ban on transgender athletes in women's sports, stirred a significant debate. The actions led to a broader discussion on the inclusion of transgender women in sports traditionally designated for biological females. Proponents of Parker's stance argue about potential physical advantages transgender women may have, which could affect competitive fairness. On the other hand, critics view these arguments as transphobic, emphasize that transgender rights are human rights, that the issue might be exaggerated due to a limited number of transgender athletes in sports. The controversy highlights the ongoing tension between inclusivity, if I said that right, and competitive equity in sports with no clear resolution in sight. So, like I said, I'm being a reporter here. This is what she said. She liked the Instagram post, and that's it. And with that being said, guys, I don't know how you guys feel about that particular issue. If you're with it or for it, I don't know if you agree with Jada Parker. Was she in the right? Was she in the wrong? We don't know. What else is going to happen regardless? Hopefully, I don't see her losing her job at NXT or nothing, or being suspended, or being fined, or being not pushed anymore, or being on the shelf. I don't see that happening. I don't see her whatever push they have set up for is going to be ruined. I don't see none of that happening. She voiced her opinion. Some people was okay with it. Some people were not. So that's just how that goes. With that being said, that topic of discussion is over. We're going to get to the bonus round. We're going to talk about Oba Femi. And we're going to talk about his whole thing as NXT champion. So let's talk about it. So let me give you a couple minutes. Let's set that up. All right, let's talk about who will be Oba Femi's next challenger. We're talking about the current NXT champion. We're talking about Oba Femi, who just won a championship in NXT New Year's Evil. Now, like I said, congratulations to Oba Femi, the most dominant man in WWE. I don't think that gets talked about enough how dominant he is. In order to be a dominant champion, we need to see who will be his real challengers? And I'm saying this because you can't just throw anybody over. It has to be someone believable, someone that could somewhat make his title reign believable and somewhat dominant. Because I believe they ran into a problem with Mr. Oba Femi. And the problem I'm saying is he's dominating, ran through everybody. And I'm trying to think who will be the best challengers for the situation for him. So we got to see who that's going to be. May not be the best one scenario, but we're gonna talk about it, guys. We're gonna definitely talk about who the best challenges are for this man because, like I said, he needs challenges. Now, one thing I will go over before we go into anything, Trick Williams, if he does challenge Oba one last time before he go to main roster, it'll be a rematch only. He might get one match off the card between him and Oba because he was the previous champion, and Oba gave him his respect. I don't think that may not happen. They may just say forget it, but if he do, that'll be it. I don't see Trick Williams winning the NXT title for a third time. He already held it twice. I don't see that happening. Well, I'm gonna go over a couple people where I could see after this who could be a legit contender, who could at least give Oba a run for his money as champion because he needs it. Because if you give him a whole bunch of jobbers and squashers, everybody beating 2 seconds, then his reign is gonna be boring. Let's be honest. I'll go over a couple. One person I would say, Wesley. Now Wesley, he had matches against Oba Femi in the past when he was the North American champion, and Wesley even got close to defeating Oba Femi. He could give him a run for his money again. As now the NXT champion. Wesley has held all the belts except for the NXT title. He stated that in a promo a while back. And maybe he could be a good challenger for Oba Femi. Wesley's great in the ring. He's similar to Javon Evans and the other guy we used to have. His name was Ricochet. Similar to Ricochet. So I could see that. So that's the only thing. I could see him being a challenger. Is he going to win? No, I do not see that happening. Not at all. I don't see that happening. Let's go over another challenger. Another challenger I see, Javon Evans. Javon Evans is a very unique talent. He's the young OG. Now, he has been involved in some triple threats and, some four-ways and some other matches. He can hang. And I could see the young OG shutting it down. And I could see him even get Oba Femi a run for his money as champion. I could see that happening as well. We do not sleep on Javon Evans, future NXT champion at some point, but just not right now. I don't see that happening with Oba Femi. But he definitely has what it takes to become champion. Now, he's currently in storyline with Ethan Page. Of course, he got to finish that, get the bugs out down with that, see how that feud go. But I do see him eventually at some point during Oba Femi's title run, challenging Oba for the title. That's how I see that. Now, we mentioned the smaller wrestlers, but Oba, since he's such a big dude, this dude a mountaintop. But if we don't put other names besides just Wesley and Javon Evans, that means he won't have any. He don't have any legit contenders now. He definitely won't have any later. But to give him somewhat of legit contenders, we're gonna have to bring some people from the main roster, TNA, or any other part of wrestling, except for AEW. But we'll go over now. One person I see, Otis. Otis is one person I can see being a challenger to Oba Femi for his NXT championship. Otis, he's been on NXT before. We've seen that before. Now he's he could be a good guy to challenge for a championship. That can happen. Now, if you guys remember, I know this happened before. Now back before now, I know this may be in a rinse and repeat situation. I get all that. It could very well be. but it could be in a good part of it too. Now, the reason I'm saying that because Otis is not only just got the size and everything else, we have to go off history here. And what I mean by rinse and repeat. This is what I mean by that. The reason I say that because when it comes to Otis, if you guys remember, we are in the brand new black and silver era, as I call it. Not black and gold. If you guys remember back then, there is prior history with this whole thing with Otis of why he could be a good contender for the title. And the reason I say that before because, like I said, there's history between Otis and Oba Femi. Now, if you guys remember back before, these guys had a stare down at one point. Now they had a stare down. This was back when Oba was the North American champion. Now, after they had that stare down, this is when Oba came on Raw. Shortly after that, probably the next day, right after Raw, NXT, they did have a match before, and it wasn't bad. It was solid. Maybe we can get that magic again if Otis challenges Oba Femi for the title. So that's one person you can grab from the main roster, and that's Otis from Alpha Academy on Raw. Now, there's another name that's going to surprise a lot of you. We haven't seen this man in a while. He's still wrestling, but he's wrestling not on Raw or SmackDown, not TNA, but in Noah. He's on the Japan scene. And he's doing his thing. All right, everybody, think of this. Omos. Now he's actually got the size bigger than Oba Femi. He's 7'3", a good what, 290, 300 pounds over. He could be a good guy to challenge for the title. Now, if Oba Femi could get over Omos, I know Omos do not have the in-ring skill ability like Oba Femi, but he has the size and the look. That could be a good contender against Oba Femi for this title. I would like to see Omos come back to WWE at some point and come in NXT ring and challenge Oba Femi. Both of them being face-to-face stare down. Let's talk about it. That'd be a good challenge. Like I said, I know Omar's not the best in-ring skill, but I did hear and know he's gotten better. He's currently hold a title right now. But let's talk about that. Let's see what happens with that. All right. We mentioned I want to say quite a few contenders. Besides Trick, we mentioned now about 4 people. Well, last but not least, you notice where WWE NXT is going. Tony D'Angelo, you know they're gonna put him in there. We saw the tease already. We saw this. We saw these guys having stayed down talk to talk, and we know their history as well. Tony D'Angelo was the one who dethroned the ruler Oba Femi to win the North American Championship. It is believable that he can beat him for the NXT title and become a champion again off Oba Femi's expense. So they're gonna run that program, but currently, as we see, Tony D'Angelo is going to start a feud with Rich Holland, which his career ain't going nowhere. Let's be honest. He was going to sweat and he went back down. That's another story for another day. After he finished that feud with Rich Holland, he's kind of similar to Oba Femi. He's in the same boat. He don't really have any challenge for his North American title either. You know, just to talk about that. He's kind of the same boat as Oba Femi. So it will not be a surprise, definitely not now, that these two will cross paths again. Maybe Tony D'Angelo will challenge to become a double champion, challenge to have North American and NXT title. The first man to do it since Keith Lee. Or maybe he loses the North American title and he wants to go for Oba's NXT title to beat him and gain the title. So that's all I'm saying. But that's who I have as the challengers, challenge Oba Femi for his challenger. You have now what? Trick in a rematch. Wesley getting a match. Javon Evans. You got Otis, Omos, and Tony D'Angelo. Because like I said before, Oba needs challenges. He needs legit challenges. Not just anybody coming from the back that's been catering or been sitting around for months and never had a match. He needs people who's going to really challenge him. And that's who I have as the challengers for Oba Femi's NXT Championship run. You guys let me know what you think about that. You guys check out the content here. Check out the 2 videos shortly. You already know what it is at this point. It's O-U-T.
Something happened this weekend, and I have been struggling with it since I retired. But this weekend gave me closure.
Wow.
It really did. Like, it was fun. Obviously, it was fun. I mean, you can't, doing this for as long as I have and being involved.